should you know about the ArrayList in C#? This is Daniel, and you are going to get coded. Here I have a link, and you can find it in the description down below. So make sure you go there and click on this one, and you'll go to my personal website to read more about it, okay? So let's talk about the ArrayList class for a moment. You remember that we said an array cannot change its size, right? If you haven't watched that, please click on this link over here. In that specific video, I talked all about array resizing and immutability, as you can see here. So if you want to know what's that, please check this video. So I suppose you have. This is what the ArrayList brings to the table: the ability to dynamically resize arrays. By resizing, I mean to add and remove items as you need without being restricted or limited by a capacity or by a size. So, as you may know, whenever you want to create an array, you have to specify the size. So you are unable to create arrays in C# without specifying the size or the capacity, meaning how many items that specific array is going to contain. So this is how arrays work in C#. So this is what we need. We need a dynamic collection. We need something that can help us with that, because sometimes we might not know how many items a specific collection is going to contain. We might not know that. So how can we go around that? Before that, I'm going to explain how the ArrayList works. So as elements are added to an array list, the capacity is automatically increased as required through reallocation. And if you want to read more about this specific thing, you can click on this link from Microsoft Developer Network. Okay, so you go there and you'll read more about if you want to. But let's see some code. So here I have an ArrayList declaration, so I'm creating a new object of type ArrayList. So basically a new ArrayList instance. And then on these 3 lines, I am trying to add some items. So you can see that I'm adding first a number, then I'm adding a string, and then I'm adding a Boolean value. So I'm adding 3 different types of variables or of values to this array list. And neither of these lines actually give an error. So this perfectly works, and this is like the idea of array list. So as you can see, we can have items of different types, a non-generic collection. So I'm going to make a different or a separate video talking about generics and non-generics, because this is like a huge thing in C# and you should know about that. Basically, the array list, if we think about it, goes into the group of non-generic collections, because you can add any type you want. Okay, so you don't have a restriction of what item types you might add. And sorry about the update thing. I have the Wi-Fi closed because this is how I record videos. So you can have different types, and sometimes you might want this, sometimes you might not want this. And in general, this is not a good practice. This is not a good practice to actually add to an array or to a collection any type of item you want, because afterwards you are going to manipulate the items from this specific collection, and you cannot do kind of the same operations, because you might think, well, if I have numbers, I want to add them together. But if you have a string, then that's going to actually break things. So this is why you need to be mindful of this problem whenever you want to use non-generics, okay, like the array list. So let's see the practicality of this. And I think I just got back. Okay, let's see the practicality of this specific class. So should you use it? Well, nope. The array list doesn't provide the best performance, so we have a performance issue right here. Also, being non-generic, we have the issue with boxing and unboxing, which I'll cover soon. So I'll make a separate video also for boxing and unboxing, which is an important feature in C#, so you really need to know about it. It is recommended to use the list collection for generics or list of type object when you need a heterogeneous collection. And before you freak out, a heterogeneous collection means a collection which can hold items of different types. So strings, integers, objects at the same time. So if we scroll up a little bit, you can see that this is what I'm talking about. This is the behavior that I was trying to explain. This array list can hold many different types, and it doesn't complain. So I can add a number, I can add a string, a boolean, an object, an array, pretty much anything that I want. And still, this is going to work. But again, it's not that practical because you might, as I said, you want to manipulate items in a specific way. And also a performance issue because there is a problem with boxing and unboxing, which I'm going to cover soon. So the conclusion, still, the array list is there for you as any other features of the C# language. And this is what you need to think about, okay? So even though the C# language provides us with so many things, we need to take a step back and analyze and think about it. Should we actually use this? If you come across a situation when you think it makes sense to use an array list, go ahead and use it. But make sure you are aware of any performance issue that it might cause. So before you jump into using a collection, like a hash table or a dictionary or what have you, please take a second look and see if there are any performance issue, anything that you should be aware of before actually jumping into it and using it in your own code. So this is what I have for you today. If you liked it, please click thumbs up. Also consider subscribing. Until next time, bye guys.